This is the new Black Series Kenobi Force Effects lightsaber from Hasbro. It's about $30 more, and it's exactly the same electronics that all the other Black Series sabers have had. But yeah, I just thought it would be different. It seems to be the same body as the old Hasbro Revenge of the Sith Kenobi hilt, which isn't a surprise or anything, but I'm just wondering where the extra $30 went. On the Kylo Ren saber that they did, it was around $200, depending on where you got it, of course, but the MSRP was about $200, I think, and that had a different soundboard with like a unique font, and it had the crossguard, little sections, and it also had the blade flicker action going. So I just kind of expected a little flicker on this, considering that it was pictured as A New Hope, where the blades were kind of flickery still. In the movies, at least. Before, Revenge of the Sith, it was more stable, but also I'm just not sure why they pictured the old one with the young hilt. Here's a comparison of the soundboards with the Luke A New Hope from 2015. If it'll focus on that. 2015. Where does it say? 2015, there. So, I'll show you this one first. I am noticing a difference in the sound, but that's the board modulating it differently just based on like the exact voltages that it's sending through, depending on like the soldering and everything. This one's higher pitched. But if you listen to the patterns in it, this is just slowed down, so it's lower pitched, but it's also slowed down. And another thing I'm noticing is this new one has a speaker off noise, like a you know how a subwoofer poofs when it powers on and off? Listen to this. That little chirp as the board cuts power to the speaker. haven't noticed that on any Force FX saber before. Here's the 2015 one. Oh, I guess there's a tiny, tiny one. I really never noticed that before. Interesting. That must be the high bass speakers turning off. Well, oh well. But that just goes to show that it's the exact same electronics. Exact same electronics. So, again, I don't know where the extra pricing comes in. Here's a shot of, like, the blades themselves. The old one. See how steppy it is turning on and less steppy turning off. Turns off quicker, I guess. It's the exact same again. Exact same dark spots on the blades. Tip illumination. It's the same. It's just the same. And I wouldn't even say that the Graflex is less of an intricate design or more expensive to manufacture or anything than this one is. And I feel like they did a better job on this. I'm noticing as I swing this one around, holding it by the neck, like with as my large hands fit, I would hold it like Alec Guinness did, with my finger over the what should actually be the vein, weather vein. But as I do that, well, it was before. I was hearing the super glue cracking as that was happening, holding the two plastic pieces together. And more proof of super glue holding it there is this discoloration in the paint. Not that it's a big deal, but it's just all super glued together, which doesn't really lend itself to being played with the way that screws and that kind of thing, set screws and interlocking metal threaded pieces can give. You can swing this one around, for example, and not really worry about anything creaking too much, or, you know, I personally, I over-tightened this set screw here into the plastic, because it's metal eating away at the plastic, you know, female socket for the screw. But that's okay, because I'm going to convert this, and I have the nice Etsy conversion kit for this one. But you just can't really swing this around comfortably. I feel like the whole top section is just really unstable on this one, which they could have fixed. For the extra money, they could have found some way to just like make a pipe. It could have been thinner. I don't know. They could have done something, and it's a little bit disappointing. Because I was considering at least getting the custom Saber Shop conversion kit for this one. Kenobi kit. I assume it would fit. But I don't know if I would even trust it, honestly. I don't know if I would want this one, this particular 2016. It's 2017, by the way, duh. But it says 2016 Hasbro, so that's interesting. Copyrights and all take a while. But I wouldn't want to swing this one around with, you know, a conversion kit and a LED in the hilt and a regular dueling blade. I don't think it would be as safe to do with it as it would be for the Graflex or any of the other hilts that they have the conversion kits for. A lot of people hate the Force FX sabers, especially the thin neck ones, because they're super fat. But some people ask what's wrong with them, the Force FX sabers in general, for why, you know, what's so inaccurate about this. Or this one in particular is one of the more accurate ones, and alone it looks pretty good. It looks, you know, there's nothing really to point out in particular, other than maybe here and a few other, you know, details that only the experts would recognize. But here next to a Corbanth 2.0, you can see really the main gripe is the girth. And it's hard to tell, but the force effects are just a little chubby in this diameter, just a tiny bit. Everything else is pretty good, just a little bit chubbo there. But you compare that closeness with this one to its one-to-one replica, which is from Roman props in his Inception. This is one of the original versions with the old kind. Not elite, just polished, not chromed or anything. But you put this next to here, and you can see that that one could eat that one, swallow it up whole. And it shows just the dimensions are way inflated on that one. The top one, the force effects, of course. And from this angle, they almost don't look that different from like the Kenobi, 2 for Ataru, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But from him, his Revenge of the Sith stance doesn't look that far off. It looks pretty good, if you ask me, compared to the Romans. But the side view is just ridiculous. So I'm a little bit disappointed personally. I was told that these are going to be replacing these in the shipments from Hasbro to stores. At least this year, this wave. So that's a sad thing. These are much better, if you ask me, than these in terms of quality of build and electronics, innovation, and all that. These seem to be less impressive than these or any of the other Force Effects Black Series hilts. They've all been kind of better than this one so far, so I just don't know how to feel about that. Like I said though, all in all, it's not a bad toy, it's not a bad product. I like holding it. It's very comfy. It's more comfortable holding this one in the manner that I was saying earlier, the Alec Guinness style. It's more comfortable holding this one than the Romans, because even though this is this part and this part are much thinner, and the copper part I'm not really touching, copper, quote unquote. Even though the diameter is much smaller on that one, you have these edges that are, it gives you more stability. You can wrap your other finger around here, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and have another contact point, where the other one was more, I've heard that you're supposed to hold a lightsaber like that. It's like the force is supposed to control it. You're supposed to use your wrists more than your fingers to draw with it. Anyways, it's a very comfortable saber to hold, and it feels good. It has like nice grips, and they're not sharp or anything. It's nice tactily, but it's just the pricing is throwing my love for it off. Sounds good by itself. It's pretty loud. It has a nice light blue color to it, like the rest of the Force Effects LEDs. It's a fairly bright light right on it. Not super bright, but it looks good in context. There you can see the light shining off the blade. But it looks good. It's not bad. But I guess that's my main gripe. It's just not bad. It's only not bad. It's not great, it's not good, it's just not bad. I was hoping to have a good one. I was expecting the electronics to be a lot nicer. I was expecting the hilt to have some innovation since the last iteration, but you get what you get. And again, if you don't have anything to compare it to, it's a great hilt. It's nice. It feels good. It's fun. It's got a good weight to it. You could potentially probably convert it to a belt hanger or a light dueler. Something wrong with it per se. It's just a weird incarnation of the Revenge of the Sith hilt.